Every commander deck has a thing they want to do. You've all heard it before. I want my deck to do the thing. I was so close to doing the thing. You know the line. How each deck does the thing, though, is different. For some, combat needs to happen. For others, they need to find the right pieces to make it work. But regardless of what the deck wants to do, there are usually certain cards that are absolutely vital to the strategy. Any commander strategy is like building an arch. You build up the two pillars on the side and they're sturdy at the very beginning, but as you add more pieces, it becomes unstable, up until you slot the keystone into place. Once the keystone is in place, you are essentially victorious as you have done the thing. Even strategies that don't seem like this description works for them fit. Mortals, immortals, and friends from the blind eternities, my name is Samson Loreseeker, and today I will be telling you about the Elder, Keystones, and the importance of proper sequencing. Elder Arthur Maxson is a pretty simple commander, especially compared to some that we have looked at in prior videos. 1 a white and a black for a 4/2 legendary creature human knight with 2 lines of text. Creature tokens you control have training, and sacrifice another creature, Elder Arthur Maxson gets indestructible until end of turn. Very simple, kinda unassuming, and more terrifying than you can expect. Now you could go about turning him into a token strategy and pumping them with the training ability, but instead, he became the keystone for an Aristocrats strategy. See, Aristocrats is the most like the Keystone Arch I was talking about. There are 2 pillars and the keystone. 1 pillar is all of the tokens in the sacrifice fodder. Creatures that die in return or die and leave another body behind. For the Elder, I went with the second option so that I might be able to leverage the training mechanic with other mechanics like Afterlife. The other pillar is all of the effects that happen when one of your creatures die, not just the Blood Artists, but things like Grave Pact as well. Then, the last part of the Aristocrat strategy is the Sacrifice Outlet. Without a Sacrifice Outlet, you really don't have any agency when it comes to attacking your plan. Best you can hope for is a board wipe, or maybe chump blocking some large attackers, but that's not really something you can count on. You could attack people, but your creatures are usually pretty small, and if you have enough Blood Artist effects, they'll just not block, and take less damage than if they did block. This is why the outlets are the keystone. The instant one of them slots into place, you have complete control over your strategy. Someone tries to remove one of your creatures, sacrifice it and drain them. Someone attacks you, block, sacrifice, and drain. Even if they try to kill the sacrifice outlet immediately, if it's a good one, you can still blow up quite big before it disappears. This is why Arthur is so terrifying as the commander. A lot of people choose a commander for Aristocrats that fits better into one of the pillars. Token generators, Blood Artist payoff effects, this is all well and good, as there are, honestly, very few good sacrifice outlets in the command zone. So many of them have extra costs or limitations. Mana costs, life costs, sorcery speed, once per turn, more than one creature needing to be sacrificed, etc. A free, unrestricted sacrifice outlet in the command zone is immensely powerful, as it puts the one piece you need the most in the zone where you will always have it. This is what I refer to as a Keystone Commander. Keystone Commanders are pretty feast or famine though. Some strategies benefit it infinitely more than others. For instance, with cards like Elder Arthur or the ever-beloved Vivi, the instant he hits the table, he can pop off doing what the deck wants to do, even in the face of an immediate removal spell. Most Keystone Commanders are not so lucky, however. A great majority need to be able to attack, or make it to the end step, or upkeep, or who knows what else. And a well-timed removal spell will remove the keystone before any benefits can be had, and the arch will crumble to the ground. Let's talk about one of the most infamous Keystone Commanders, Gishath. Gishath is one of those commanders that you see everywhere, and is the picture-perfect definition of a fragile Keystone Commander. It may not seem like the arch analogy works here, but it still does in its own unique way. One of the 2 pillars is ramp. You want to get Gishath out as fast as possible. This is similar to the token side of the Aristocrats arch, the setup. The other side, the payoffs, are all the big dinosaurs you want to cheat out. The Galtas and the Altasaurs and all those other big friends. Granted, this is slightly different because those need to be in the deck rather than on the battlefield for the strategy to work. Gishath then becomes the Keystone. If they get removed, then you're basically stuck playing one large dinosaur at a time, and honestly, one dinosaur per turn is very easy to handle, as opposed to an army of dinosaurs all at once. The strategy falls apart without Gishath. This is part of what led to the massive popularity of the cards Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots, even in decks where the commanders already have haste. The ability to drop protection on the board and then move it onto the commander when it shows up is very tempting. The problem is, that only works if the opposing players don't have instant speed removal to kill on sight the kill on sight commander, in which case, the commander was already going to survive that turn. Realistically, the boots weren't doing much until the next turn comes around. Honestly, instant speed protection would be better because it saves you from that instant speed removal, or alternatively pieces that passively grant protection, things like privileged position, Shalai, and asceticism, or alternatively flag bearer creatures. And if you can't have any of those, well, maybe try running some counterspells. It will be worth it. Alright, so we've talked about the Keystones, and we've talked about protecting the Keystones. There's one more very important thing we need to talk about: sequencing the Keystone. That's another reason why a commander's strategy is like building an arch. You can't just slap the Keystone in and then build the rest of the arch, or the Keystone's just gonna sit there and not do anything, and everything else will kinda stumble and fall around it. The Keystone needs to come at the right moment. In my Elder Maxon deck, I need to play him out only once I have the supports built and ready to go. That way, even if they have a path to exile waiting for me, I can still sacrifice things off and go ham, draining the table. Gishath is a lot more simple in that regard. Can't cast Gishath without the ramp pillar, and the other half of the arch just needs to be in the deck and not in your hand. I touched on this with my video about slowing your roll, but you don't want to drop the most important piece in until you can use it to its maximum potential. The opportune moment will look different game to game. Sometimes, with the right pieces, it's as soon as you have the synergy lined up. For others, you need to be more patient, waiting for the blue player to tap out, or for the token player to commit to an attack. Someone just cast a board wipe and all attacks are free and you have something that gives haste. Maybe waiting to have the piece of protection in hand before casting the Keystone. Reading the board and getting a sense for when to slam the stone home is one of the toughest lessons to learn in Commander, since there is no one true moment that is always objectively the time to do it. There is so much information to keep track of at all times, when there are 3 other players trying to stop you. And your Keystone card is absolutely the card they want to stop. No one playing against a Gishath deck wants Gishath to resolve. No one against a token deck wants Hoof to resolve. No one wants to see OG Soren Markov hit the battlefield. Always assume someone will try to stop your Keystone, and choose the moment where people will be able to do the least to you when you cast it. That is how you use your Keystones. Keystones are an important and vital part of Commander. Every deck has them, no matter what the strategy ultimately is. One could argue that it's the format of Keystones, as practically every Commander deck is built around said Commander. But in general, it's better to have more than one in a deck. Having only one card that the deck needs to function will not be that secure in the long run, not without a slew of protection for it. You just need to make sure that you build your arches properly, with enough parts for both sides, and keep those Keystones safe, so that you can stand up, slot it neatly into place, and admire the beautiful work you've done as your deck proceeds to do the thing. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. It's amazing to see how far I've come in the time since I started. I'm getting close to 500 subscribers, so if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with your friends so that I can get there. Until next time though, folks, take care of yourselves.